Life in all its myriad forms cover the jewel of the solar system, Earth. The planet we call home boasts an amazing array of flora and fauna, with the dominant species, us, perched atop the global food chain. But is that perch as secure as we believe it to be? And as we look down, do we truly see all that exists in the shadow of the pedestal of our own creation? Or does hubris blind us to that which we cannot easily see? There are those who say winged creatures glide through moonlit skies or glare from the darkness with crimson eyes. Are the plaster cast footprints filling display cases in museums around the globe proof of the existence of the creature indigenous people of North America named Sasquatch in bygone days? Or are they all part of an elaborate hoax perpetrated against an all too often gullible society? And are we justified in embracing the evidence of eyewitness accounts and other evidence, or equally justified in denying that any new thing could be discovered under the burning light of day or the cool rays of a full moon? Are cryptids such as Mothman and Bigfoot actual living creatures, or do they only haunt the fertile forests and fields that border the pathways leading through the shadows of legend? Hello, this is Charles Romans, and welcome to Shadows of Legend. Today we're speaking with Anfernee Orlando from Ottawa, Canada. He has some brushes with the strange and paranormal he'd like to share with us. How are you doing today?
Hello, Charlie. I'm fine. Thanks for the invitation. How are you?
Thank you for being on here. I'm doing well. So when did your experiences with the strange and the paranormal start? Are there multiple instances or just one story you'd like to share with us?
Well, this was 2011. It was midsummer. It was July. It was a hot season. And I was out there caribou hunting alone, about, say, 65, 70 miles northwest from my small little town there. And I spot a small herd of caribou. So where I'm from, the land is very flat. It's open tundra, no trees, no mountains. But there's some small eschers here and there. I've never shared this before like this, even to my fellow Eskimos. But I was out hunting caribou. I saw one, so I went there. I skinned the caribou, cutting it up.
Yes.
And I noticed that small herd that I was after earlier, I saw them running back, like big time running back. They were in full throttle.
Well, see, that would be
I was
strange.
thinking they were running away from a wolf or a pack of wolves or a grizzly bear. So I put down my knife and took my binoculars and started looking behind those, the herd of caribou. I've never seen something like that before. The color was like brownish, orange, something like that. And it was huge.
About how large do you think it was?
I'm sorry, I'm starting crying.
Well, take your time, please.
This thing was like, say, 10 footer. It was a big one. It was a big creature. And it was running upright with two legs. Its arms were swinging like it was catching up to this small herd of caribou really, really quickly, like really, really fast. It was running really, really fast.
See,
I couldn't believe my eyes. I couldn't believe what I was seeing there. I felt my hairs go up and my heart skipped a beat because I've heard about these beings. The elders share a lot of stories to the young fellas, right?
Yes.
And their story come to my head instantly. I was like, wow, it's right there. That's the one I've heard for, and elders told the story before. I got scared. I got really scared. It was like, I don't know, 2.5 miles away. It was right there.
Well, a creature moving quickly enough to catch a herd of caribou 2 miles isn't that much of a distance.
I mean, this being was running like, wow. It was running really fast. And if I wanted to watch him, I'm sure I'd watch him catch up to this herd of caribou. But just before it was catching up to them caribou, I put down my binoculars, took my rifle, packed it up. I packed all my stuff on the ATV there, and I didn't look back. I had tears. I was crying. I was fearing for my life. I thought it was come after me or something. I know my rifle wouldn't do good because I had a small caliber. I had a 223, and I ran away. I ran home.
And that's not surprising at all because, based on the legend you inherited, it would have to be like seeing something materialize out of a nightmare.
Hmm. I mean, I recently joined a group on Facebook. It's called Bigfoot Photos, Videos, something like that. There's a group on Facebook there about Bigfoot, Sasquatches, whatever.
Yes.
So I joined this group. I was scrolling down on my Facebook. I wasn't thinking about anything about, Bigfoot or whatever. But when I saw this a group there, I saw this group. So I joined that group. And I mean, at night when I think of that being there, that creature, sometimes I cry myself to sleep. I mean, I just thinking of it, I feel really, really small. I feel tiny, powerless, something like that.
Well, it's nothing to be ashamed of compared to, the only thing that I can think of that might even possibly compare to them would be like a Kodiak bear.
Mm-hmm.
And pop culture has a tendency to, I don't know, desensitize us to a certain thing. I remember I had interviewed Doug Waller. He's a Bigfoot researcher, and he said that people think of the gentle giant and everything. He said sometimes you get that, and sometimes you get the savage. Sounds to me like what you saw was the savage.
I mean, the way it ran, every time I think of it and then I close my eyes, I still see it like it was yesterday. The way the arms were swinging when it was running, I mean, I cannot forget that moment there. I couldn't believe my eye. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I didn't think of anything like that. I was out there hunting caribou. The only thought I had in my head was caribou. I want to shoot one. I want to see one. And then out of nowhere, I saw this. I think it was Bigfoot. It was like 10 footer. It was a hairy being, lots of hair, brownish orange, something like that.
Now, was it a very bulky creature?
It was, bulky, very muscular. It was huge. It was a giant.
Now, one thing that I'd like to clarify for people who've never been hunting and don't know anything about hunting, you would need a fairly large rifle to hunt caribou, correct?
Yes, up here, everybody's favorite caliber is 223 when hunting caribou. But like when they go hunting polar bears, grizzly bears, beluga whales, or narwhals, they use bigger calibers like from 300 Magnum and up.
And you know what these rifles are capable of. And from you speaking earlier, I'm assuming I got the impression that you're an experienced hunter. And the reason I mention this is that if you're an experienced hunter and you know what your gun is capable of dropping, and you saw this creature and thought that your gun was not sufficient to the task, that says quite a bit. Caribous aren't small animals.
Yeah, I mean, I started going out hunting when I was 5 years old. And I harvested my first caribou when I was 5 years old. My dad bought me a small chipmunk 22 rifle. And yes, we pretty much know what caliber to use when hunting a certain animal.
And it might help to clarify to other people. If you would have had a gun with you capable of dropping a polar bear, for instance, do you think that would have been sufficient to have affected this creature you saw?
I don't know. I mean, with my rifle at the time, I had 223, and maybe it would get mad, angry, or something like that. Maybe it would get only aggressive towards me. I know for sure. I know I wouldn't put him down with that small rifle I had.
So, and as it's been said before, you definitely don't want to wound a predator because it does, like you said, it makes them more aggressive, makes them attack usually.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Just like let me say this, like I have my 223 and I saw that grizzly bear there. If I shoot at it, whatever it sees that something that's moving, it would charge whatever that's moving he sees. Like the elders used to talk about the stories like we are not to bother these beings. Like don't go after them, don't shoot them, don't hurt them, things like that. So I never thought of shooting at it or anything like that. But if I ever had to, if it ever charges me or attacks me, whatever. If I shoot at it with this 223, I know it won't do any good.
Well, in a lot of cases, discretion is the better part of valor, as they say. And since it wasn't targeting you, you probably did the most intelligent thing by leaving the area, removing yourself from his hunting ground, as it were.
I don't know if it saw me, but I saw it there going full blast towards these caribou. I'm sure it saw me, but I don't know. It was right there. The land where it comes from is very flat. You can see somebody like, say, 100 miles, and you still see him using binoculars.
Right, because there's no natural geography to impede the line of sight.
No trees, no mountains. It's just flat tundra.
Now, after your experience, did you discuss that with anyone locally, or did you ask anyone locally if they had seen something similar to that?
I've never talked about this for years until recently on that Facebook group there. Before I shared my encounter there, I never thought of it again, or at night I never cried or whatever. But after I shared it, I think of it now, and then I start to get teary eyes.
Well, yeah, that's a common thing. A lot of times people will block out a really traumatic experience for years and essentially forget that it happened. And then when something later triggers it, then all of those memories and experiences come flooding back. So it's almost overwhelming.
Mm-hmm. Like that some nights, I mean, like, say, 3 nights ago, I cried myself to sleep like a baby.
Well, with a terrifying experience such as that, you would question a person if it didn't disturb them. You really would. I would think being disturbed would be the more natural reaction than just kind of blowing it off and not worrying about it.
I mean, the most that scares me or makes me teary eyes is that how it ran there, how fast it could go for that size.
If you were to estimate its speed, how fast do you think that it ran?
Yeah. I don't even know how fast the caribou run. Let's say that Bigfoot could run maybe 100 kilometers an hour easily. I don't know. I don't really know. But it runs fast, really, really fast. I should have done the little research about the caribou, how fast they run.
Well, it gives people the general idea, though. Anything that can gain ground on a herd of caribou in full flight.
This herd of caribou, they were running, and I know how fast these caribou run. Up here, they are the second fastest runners up here in the Arctic after wolves. But these caribou were like running, like big time running. And then behind them was this Bigfoot or whatever it was. It was catching up to them really, really fast. Really, really fast.
Well, see, that's impressive in itself. I know recently I'd had a cause to do some research on black bears. And black bears can run up to 40 miles an hour, but that's not as fast as a caribou can run.
No. I know how fast I would say these bears would be behind caribou speed-wise.
Yes, but for something that's arguably bulkier than a bear and bigger than most, to move that fast is amazing. And that's why I said it's not surprising that it was a terrifying experience.
Maybe I can say that creature ran maybe 3 times as fast as the caribou. Maybe I can say that.
See, that is some serious speed. In a lot of cases, when people have reported encountering creatures like this, they're not moving that quickly. But then again, a lot of these experiences and sightings are in forested areas. So, the tundra, of course, being flat, nothing to slow down. You could run as fast as you were capable of. So it may just be that no one has reported this simply because there wasn't really space for a creature like that to run.
Mm-hmm. And then only later, I thought of it, like, where did this creature come from? I never see like its size. It was like 9-10 footer, and I don't know why I never see it when I was looking around using my binoculars, right, looking for caribou.
Right.
But I don't know where it came from. It must have been low on the ground watching the caribou. Maybe we were after the same herd, me and that being. I don't know where it came from.
But that's an excellent point, because if it had just been walking across the tundra, you would have noticed it, if nothing else, thought it was a small tree from a distance.
I'd see it I mean, yeah, 110%, 200%, I would see it, but I don't know where it stood up from, I don't know. They must be like they must be good at blending like their surroundings. Like it appeared out of nowhere, like it was sent from the heavens or underground. I don't know where it came from.
See, I was going to ask, are there any cave complexes, cavern complexes in that area?
I mean, I was thinking maybe it was on its belly, peeking with its head up only. I don't know. I really don't know where it came from.
And
Only I saw it when those caribou were running back. And there it was. I saw it right away.
now, this herd of caribou, of course, you shot your caribou and you were cleaning it, but was that part of the herd, and the herd ran that way, and then this creature spooked it, so it came running back towards you? Is that how that happened, or was it?
Yes, it was the same herd where I saw it one. They ran that way, and then they were running back. So that's when I took my binos, and I thought I was going to see a wolf or a grizzly bear, only to see this bright creature running real fast.
See, that's an amazing sighting. You said that you just packed up and left.
I left the caribou that I harvested. I left it. I just packed my stuff and I took off. I just wanted to get out of there.
And another thing I was going to ask you, how far from where you were hunting is it to where you lived at the time? Because I know around here,
like 70 miles northwest of my small hometown, Artic.
I see that's not very long at all. I know a lot of people where I live, they hunt locally. They're not really 5 or 10 miles away from their house when they're hunting.
Mm-hmm. It was like 4 hours traveling by ATV. And the second time I saw it was 3 years later. But this one was black. This one was black in color, about the same size, same height. I went out hunting caribou around that same area.
Yes.
Not the same spot, but a little further away where I seen the last one, right?
Yes.
So I stopped there. I didn't see any caribou. I didn't see any grizzly bears. At that time, I was out hunting caribou and grizzly bears. But
yes.
But that time, I didn't see any animals. I didn't see nothing. So I stopped somewhere out there around that same area. I stopped to gas up the ATV. There was wind from the northwest. The wind must have been like 20 kilometers an hour, something like that. But while I was gassing up my ATV, suddenly I smelled. I've never smelled that before. What I smelled at that time, I suddenly smelled something very. It wasn't too pleasant. It was a stinky smell. So I put my head up. I looked around, just with my head. I didn't use any binoculars or something like that. I was still holding the jerry can, gassing up my ATV. So I looked, it was straight ahead of me, looking at me on top of that big boulder there. For a human, we were that big boulder. No one could have climbed like without using any ladders or something.
Okay.
But it was standing on top of that big boulder, looking at me.
And how far away would you think that was?
It must have been like a mile, 3/4 mile, something like that. It was just staring at me, was looking at me. I felt my hair stood up because I recognized it right away, what I saw before, but only this one was in black in color, was looking at me. I felt my hair stood up. I tied down the jerry can and turned around 180 degrees and head back home.
Well, like I said, I mean, I wouldn't blame you for that. That's an encounter with something like that. It's nothing you can do anything with.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I brought my same rifle. It was a small caliber 223. I mean, I never thought of like shooting at them or whatever, trying to scare them away. I'd rather not do anything and get out of the way.
Well, as we discussed before, if you wouldn't want to wound it, that would just anger it. But
I mean, I don't know where it came from. Again, maybe I don't know. But there were around that area. There were like 3-4 feet of small bushes here and there. I don't know where it came from.
Well, even if it were hiding behind the bushes, then, of course, it would still beg the question, where did it originate from?
Right? That second time I see it was the same month. It was July, midsummer, hot season. I don't know. Maybe they migrate, or I don't know. I don't really know.
So now, since you have seen two separate creatures that looked obviously different, do you think perhaps there's a group of them living in that area?
Well, when I lived up there in RV at Nunavut, I used to visit elders and record them, like what they want to share, what kind of stories they want to share, good and bad, scary, anything. I used to record them. And this one lady, when they lived the nomadic life, that was 1940s. She recently passed away last December.
I'm sorry to hear that.
She told me a story when she was a little girl. She was out there collecting some dead wood for their wood stove to make the fire, And she went inside these, like, maybe she said they must have been like 8 feet tall bushes there. And she went inside that bushes, and she seen this. She said it was very hairy creature, lots of hair. It was black in color, she said. And that creature didn't notice this lady. She said that being was playing with the little one. I guess they're out there and multiplying.
We see now, usually, and during a sighting, people don't see juveniles, but there have been reports of juvenile sighting. That's the reason I asked if perhaps you thought that there were, a family of them living around or somewhere close, or whether, as you had mentioned earlier, perhaps migration.
Mm-hmm.
But this story from your elder there saying that they did encounter younger ones kind of would imply that whether they actually live there or not, they frequent the place.
I really don't know if they're around here all year round, or do they migrate at certain times? I don't know.
Well, it would be definitely something that's worth more study.
And there's also, I'd like to share this one too. There's this an elder who lived way further up north. He lived in Baffin. I watched this video when he was interviewed back in 1980s. He shared his encounter there, and it was dead winter. It used to be really cold back in the day, but now these days it's a lot warmer now, right? I think
Yes.
Everybody knows about global warming,
Right.
but back in those days, he said it was really, really cold. He was packing his sled, and his dogs were harnessed to the sled, right? He had a dog team, and suddenly his dogs moved to one side away from him, like other side of the sled, with their tails tucked in. Then he looked back, and he saw this giant standing less than 10 feet away from him, staring down at him. It didn't say anything, it didn't do anything. It was just looking down at him. And then he took off with his dog team. He never looked back either.
Well, I mean, as we said before, it might be a good idea not to. But now, even though your experiences were terrifying, do you think you were ever in immediate physical danger at either time?
Well, the elders used to say they take care of the land, like they are the caretakers of the land and the animals.
Yes.
But I don't think they attack the humans or something like that, harm them or whatever. I think we're just scared to be around them because of their size and how they look, the way they smell. The elders used to say we have to respect those beings, not to go after them, not to disturb them. When you see one, just get away. That's what they used to say.
Well, I mean, everything has a right to live and go its own way, if nothing else. But, I mean, if your ancestors respect this creature as a caretaker of the land, then, of course, you wouldn't want to infringe upon it, or definitely not, like you said, don't attack it or anything.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know why I was scared. I don't know. I really don't know why. I just didn't want to disturb or whatever. I just wanted to get out.
Well, I mean, to see something move that fast that
I mean,
has
that
the
how
potential.
fast they run. Wow, man. I couldn't believe what I was seeing for that creature that size to have that kind of speed with two legs. I mean, it was incredible.
See, that's what I was going to say. I mean, you saw something that is definitely out of the ordinary, so it would have to shock and surprise you, if nothing else.
I mean, I even had tears because I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was, wow, that made me scared and made me teary eyes. I was shaking at the time. I thought I would see him running beside me or grab me from behind. I ran for my life.
Well, yeah, like I said before, that's probably a good thing that you did.
hmm
Having no real way to defend yourself if the creature had decided to attack.
I mean, at the time, I had a good size engine. I had an 800cc Can-Am ATV. I was full blast, and I felt like I was slow. I knew if it wants to catch up to me, it would. I know it would catch up to me.
That's an amazing account.
Mm.
And were those two instances the only two instances of you seeing the creature?
On land, yes, but I've also seen some, I think they call it mermaid. I've seen them two times also.
Now, this is in the same general area.
Yes, the first one I saw was 1998, and I was in my early teenage years, and my dad sent me out hunting. I had to see, he was letting me go out there and hunt on my own. It was my first time to go out there alone with my cousin there. That evening, we made it back home. The sun already set. The sky was the orange though, but the sun already set.
Right. Okay.
Where I'm from is on the west coast of Hudson Bay. I live in that small town there. But right by that town, at the time, there was no wind, absolutely no wind. The bay was calm. It was like a mirror. And so we made it to the shore. We towed the boat up by the shed there, a small little shack. So we were putting our hunting stuff from boat to that shed there. And then suddenly we started to hear water splashing. My cousin was on the other side of the boat, and I was on this side grabbing the grub box there. So that at the same time we looked towards the water, and there it was standing. It was big, man. That must have been like 9, 10 feet, showing, say, from the knees up, and the wrist was still in the water.
So now, could you describe it a little bit better? I know that it was that tall and standing up out of the water. Did it look like the other things you'd seen? What did the skin look like and things of that nature?
The color was black.
Mhm.
The color was black. It had long arms, long skinny arms. The eyes, it had big eyes, just like we see like in the cartoons or movies. You know, they have big eyes, like the aliens, right?
Yes.
It had the same eyes as the aliens, like we see in movies or cartoons. Big eyes, big black eyes, small mouth. I don't know if it had a nose or we didn't see any nostrils cavity, but because it was kind of dark, and this, I think it was mermaid, was like dark black in color. The hands they had webs on their hands, and it babbled. I don't know. I mean, like, I'm going to imitate how it sounded like. Yes.
Okay.
While it was babbling, it was moving its arms up and down, left and right. Its arms were moving, and it babbled like very high pitched voice, very high pitched voice. It babbled like something like that, and then it dove back into the bay.
That doesn't sound like any known language.
I've never heard that before. I've never seen that thing before.
So now you say it dove back into the water. Did it swim into the bay?
Yes, it swam into the bay, away from the shore. He was huge. He must have been like 15 feet long or 15 feet tall, whatever. It was huge. It was big.
And you never saw any of the rest of the body, that with the part that was underwater, correct?
I've never seen the whole body. I didn't see the tail, but say from the knees up, it showed, and the rest was in the water.
So now, do you know anybody else that's had similar sightings up there?
This, just like Bigfoot, their story from long, long ago, right? And they were, yes, they've been seen since, I don't know, time immemorial. I don't know. But elders used to say, I mean, they say these beings are seen around here for a long, long time. They've been here for a long, long time. So after I saw that, a few months later, I went to an elder's place. It was an old man. He's not around anymore. So I told him what I saw. I asked him what their names were, and he told me the name right away. He smiled and then asked me, "Did you see it?" And I was like, "Yes, I saw it right by the town on the shore there." And he said these beings were seen around this area since long, long time ago.
And did he say anything about what their purpose was, if there was a purpose?
I remember he said they take care of the ocean, like the sea goddess. Now I understand why they are called sea goddess, because at that time there were lots and lots of fish. There were lots and lots of fish.
Do you think maybe people don't see them as frequently now because of overfishing and things like that, changing the habitat?
Mm-hmm.
So in this case here, I asked you before about the Bigfoot sightings, if you had shared this story with anyone and anyone had given you similar stories of their own experiences. Did you have this kind of experience with these creatures? Anybody else share their stories with you?
Yes, they had the same, they like how they felt and what they thought after what happened or things like that. Yes, they had the same feeling.
So overall, what are your thoughts on these creatures that most of the people refer to as cryptids?
I would say they are the caretakers of the land and the sea. The way I see it is they control the population or whatever. They control the animals. They like taking care of the animals, taking care of the land, taking care of the water or sea mammals, things like that. That's how I see it. They are the caregivers, caretakers.
Okay. And what would you recommend to someone who was going out searching for these kind of creatures? What advice could you give them?
I'm like on that Facebook group there, I've seen a lot of Facebook users saying, "I'm going to this place and look for this creature." I think of them, that's not good. I mean, the way I think it's not good. I think we shouldn't go after these beings, like shoot at them, kill them, capture them. I think I'm just going to say this, but I think they are crazy and stupid. Those people who go after these these beings that are hidden out there.
So how has these experiences changed your life?
It changed my life the way, I mean, how I see life and nature now. I mean, it truly changed the way I see things. It makes me respect more. I mean, since as far as I can remember, when I go out hunting or whenever I'm out there on the land, they used to tell me respect and take care of your land. And until today, I have maximum respect to the land, the animals, the nature. And I mean, for those guys who want to see it or go after some beings that are hidden out there, I think they shouldn't do that. You will see it in time when you least expect it. So I think for those who go out there and hunt them, come back empty-handed, because these beings are not stupid. They're very smart and intelligent. They know what's going on, and I know they know what's going on with people who are civilized or something like that.
So, are there any other experiences that you would like to share with us?
Yes, I have many stories. What do you want to hear?
Whatever you care to share.
Well, this was 2019. I mean, the first time I saw it was 1988, 87, 88, 89, around that, those years back in the day. First time I've seen a small little being, must have been like 3, 4 feet tall. It was small little being. Me and my dad were out hunting. I was 5 years old at the time when I first got my small 22 chipmunk rifle. We were waiting for that bull caribou. He was coming towards us slowly eating. I had my chipmunk had a scope, so I'd been aiming at that caribou, and then when that caribou was close enough, my dad said, when I say pull the trigger. Just when I said yes, in between us and the caribou, this little dwarf or whatever they call it, was small little human. Maybe it was a human being, but there were no other hunters, or we were the only ones there.
I see.
But this little being, like, it was standing on its 2 feet. It had bow and arrow. It was wearing caribou outfit, and suddenly stood up right in between us and the caribou. Even that big bull caribou spooked and it ran away. I remember my dad saying, like, yikes, there's a little midget. We have to go. We took off, and I don't remember the rest. I was a very, very small kid. I don't remember after that.
So it sounds as though the area really has a wealth of cryptid population, unexplained things.
Mm-hmm. I mean, elders have so many stories they share. They used to say, they say these little beings are not to be, should not be disturbed, or we don't have to go after them because they are a lot stronger than us human beings. Even though they are tiny, but still they're strong. That's what the elders say. They're very strong little beings.
And how old are these stories? Not your specific stories.
These stories, if I go and visit this elder who like 80, 90 years old,
yes,
if I ask this question, they would tell their story, and then they go back more like to their grandparents and grandparents way, way back.
So it's part of the culture, a generational experience.
Yes. The second time I saw it was just recently, like 2019. But these ones were a lot smaller, about the size of a ptarmigan. They were very tiny. One day I was out there heading down to my cabin, which is about 80 miles south from my hometown there. That time it was September. It was wet season, raining, fog, strong wind, things like that. But at that time it was like a wet day, heavy fog, misty, raining every now and then. But I turned a little too much towards the west. I got lost for a little bit until I reached that river there, and then I realized I made a turn because it was really foggy, right? We see like 10 feet away from
It sounded like it was easy to get turned around, easy to get lost in weather like that with low visibility.
Mm-hmm. So I reached this river there, and then I noticed right away I am way towards west too much. So I traveled east along this river. There's like, say, 7, 8 feet, these bushes along this river. I was thirsty, so I stopped, walked down to the river. I bent down and drank some water. While I was going down, on my way down, there was a wind coming from the east, and at that time there was nobody, no other hunters. There was no other people around. I smell like wood burning, like maybe must have been like campfire or something like that.
Okay.
I was thinking, oh, there's somebody around here. Must be cooking some caribou or making tea. That's what I thought instantly. But there was no way to cross because the river it's too deep. There was no way to cross. But if there ever was other hunters out there, I was thinking maybe they're making tea or they're cooking something. On my way up, I looked. I don't know why I looked. down, I see these small people, the size ptarmigans, if you know how the ptarmigans.
See, I'm not familiar with that word. If you care to elaborate a little bit on that.
Small birds, like quail, I think they call it down here.
Oh, okay. All right. Yes, I'm familiar with quail.
Yes, about that size. These little people must have been a small family because I saw 7 of them looking at me.
So how'd they react?
They were just standing there, small little people, tiny people. I've heard about these stories of these little people, and of course, instantly I thought about the elder story about these little people, and then they were right there looking at me.
See, that's just an amazing encounter. How long did that last?
It was very, very brief. Lasted like, I was there, when I seen them, it was like 5 seconds, 7 seconds. And then I ran to my ATV and started traveling again to my cabin.
They didn't pursue or anything like that?
And then I arrived to my cabin there. That next morning, I went to go fetch some water, fill up my water jug. I had to walk like, say, 50 yards. That river is like 50 yards away from my cabin. And I just moved my cabin there that spring.
Okay.
And it was my first summer there. But anyway, I went to go fetch some water. These bushes, like 7-8 feet tall bushes, I had to go in between. It was pretty thick bushes. And then I seen this, small opening, like it was just sand, like small little opening. And they were, say, about the size of a softball for baseball, right?
Okay.
About that size. There were small rocks in circle and small little wood that were burnt. And then right away, I thought maybe those ones I saw yesterday, maybe they stop here or they camp here. I thought of those little beings right away when I seen this small, tiny campfire, small little rocks and small little pieces of wood that are burnt.
Well, it's completely understandable that you'd make that connection.
That morning, I went to go get some water. That morning, I saw it. And then later in the evening, I went to go get water again. Of course, I went there to go check it, but then it wasn't there anymore. It was clean.
So you're assuming that they went back and covered their tracks?
That's what I thought. I think they covered. It was clean. Like, there was nothing there. It was clean. There was no tracks. It was cleaned. I know it was clean. I know they cleaned it.
Now, have you seen anything like that since?
No, I haven't. I moved down here winter, December 2019. I moved to this big city, and it's my first time living in a big city. And since then, I haven't seen.
Well, typically those kind of encounters aren't in the middle of a big city, so that's totally understandable.
I mean, living in where I'm from, it's really quiet. There's hardly any lights, nice and quiet. I mean, when I first moved down here, like, there's so many lights and it's loud, things like that. There's so many people.
Well, I totally understand because I live out in a rural area, and during the day it's a little noisy, a lot of traffic, but about 10 or 11 o'clock at night, everything just quietens down and you occasionally see a car. But for the most part, it's just quiet, and I can appreciate that.
Well, I had coworkers. I work at the gold mine up there in Nunavut, and I have some coworkers who live down here.
Yes.
Like when we talk about hunting, I would always ask, like, have you seen Bigfoot or anything unusual out there? And they would just laugh and they'd be like, yeah.
So, what would you say or what do you say to people like that who just laugh and think that it's all made up?
I mean, I smile back at them, and I understand because they've never seen one. They're not going to believe anything story. Like, I don't argue with them, but I can tell them there are things out there. If you go out there, go outside the city, go for a walk or go for a hike, one day you will see one when you least expect it.
And that might be just the best answer to have for it. Let people see for themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Well, I
have like, the only drawings I have is 2 drawings of the mermaid, because I've seen that mermaid 2 times. And when I show them, they would just still laugh at me, and they say, were you on drugs or were you drunk? And it's something like that. Like, they don't believe 100%. But
people seldom believe something that violates the sense of ordinary, we'll say.
I know one day they'll be a believer like me.
Well, I want to take this opportunity to thank you for coming on the podcast and sharing your stories, and always look forward to hearing from you again in the future there if you have some more stories you want to share.
Oh, yes. Thank you very much for having me. And
I'd be interested in...
look forward to talk again of some things.
But I'd be interested in hearing some of the recordings or discussing some of the things that you discussed with the elders, the parts that they will allow other people to hear. Mm-hmm. I'd be interested in talking about that. Mm-hmm. But well, for the moment, you have a wonderful evening, and hopefully we'll talk to you soon.
Yes, same to you. Enjoy your evening, and I wish you the best of luck. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for coming on the show. This is Charles Romans, and on behalf of myself and our guests, thank you for joining us on this walk through the shadows of legend. If you like what you heard, please follow us and visit our website at shadowsoflegend.com and support our Patreon page to help keep the content flowing. And if you would like to be a guest and share your own brush with a stranger paranormal, don't hesitate to email us and include a contact number. The strange and surreal, the normal and the paranormal are all aspects of the world in which we live. As you reflect upon the stories we have shared, keep in mind that the people sharing these stories are actual, real people just like us. Were the stories shared compelling enough to be given credibility, or should they be relegated to the deeper part of the shadows? But when determining this, it might be a good idea to keep an open mind, because when we look around, we might discover that our own world is less brightly lit than we once thought. Until next time, I'll be waiting for you in the shadows of legend.